used extra cash over the last 4 or 5 years? If you sponsored in 2 people, and I asked Russ over here, I said, what's the average deal? He says, 150 grand, 125, 150 grand around here, this type of thing. I said, okay. I said, gee, 2 people could be 10 grand extra. Could you have used $10,000 extra over the last year, over the last couple of years, where $10,000 would have helped to pay all those bills? $10,000 would have kept the dogs away from the door. $10,000 maybe would have helped one of your kids that was having problems with his charge cards. Just by getting everybody else, somebody else hooked into this system, because you know how we're going to treat them. You know how we're going to teach them. You know how we're going to raise them. You know how we're going to be with them. You know that already. Aren't you proud of this company? I've got to ask you a question. Respond immediately. This is a response type of thing. Are you glad to be an American? Excuse me. Hello? Are you glad to be an American? Yes. You got to say it with some conviction. Are you proud to be part of Exit? Yes. What else are you going to do? Go back to one of those one deal at a time, I'm only as good as my last transaction type of companies? How do you go back? We dropped you off on the island. We burnt the ship, baby. You can't go back. How could, in any conscience, how could you go back to what it is that they're doing? They're into SOS. They're bailing. They're trimming fat. They're firing people. Century 21, God love them. They were the first one to start franchising. They used to have 28 trainers. Guess what they got now? 1 for all of North America. Look what we're doing. Did you enjoy this morning's presentation? That's just a small snippet of the kind of talent that we're replacing ourselves with to get this job done, because we're setting out purposefully. It's on our agenda to be the best in town, the best in North America. Is it okay that we ask for best? Is it okay that we ask for number 1? Can you get used to that? And wouldn't it be good if all of us could be proud when somebody says, what do you do for a living? And that we're actually proud to give a response. That we don't think we're lower than a snake. And that we're worse off than a car salesman. You know, change your response, for crying out loud. What do you do for a living? I sell big houses. What's the next question? How big are they? You sell, I'm in real estate. Oh, you're one of them. No, see how you just change the sentence a little bit, change the words? Words define all things. You change the words a little bit, you get a totally different situation. You've controlled the environment simply by changing your response. Wouldn't it be smart to attend more courses where you learn how to talk a little bit more effectively well, so you could be the most productive person possible living inside your frame? Is there anybody in here that shouldn't get a little healthier than they are right now? Don't you owe it to yourself, owe it to your kids? Don't you want to see your grandchildren grow up? Don't you want to be able to spend time with them without heart attacks and strokes and all those other problems that are going on out there? Wouldn't you like to see dyslexic and ADD and some of that stuff eliminated from your kids and some of the problems that they're having out there? Isn't it time to stop walking with a limp? Now, I've taken another one of my courses, Power Selling 101, and we've refined it down, and we're calling it Face Off. It's going to be 3 hours, because I know it's tough for everybody to afford lunches and stuff like this, especially after the last 3 or 4 years we've been through. So we've tailored it from 4 hours, where there was a lunch in between, to 3 hours, where I can have some fun with you. So we put you in there, and it's all about mind development and achievement, success, orientation, getting the most and best out of yourself, self-image reinforcement, and all that stuff. And the laws of the universe, everything that's involved with this, the psychology and even the slycology of being in real estate. And then I got 60 minutes with Exit. I would love to come back to Exit if they'll invite, or back to Florida if they'll invite me back and do a whole bunch of 60 minutes this year and just drop some bombs out there and start telling the story, invite them in, get them all invited in so that we can tell the story. We got 60 minutes. I did 563 of them, and we averaged about 225 per audience by the time I was finished doing them, and then we had the calamity, and then we stopped doing them for a bit. But it's time to rekindle those engines and get them going. This is a production year, people. We're no longer a hospital. We've been that way for the last 3 to 4 years because it was like the Civil War. Everybody got their legs blown off, and we had to be in therapy. That's what we had to do. Nurturing, because it was absolutely, totally necessary, because our people deserved it, because they got raked over the coals, thank you very much, with the worst calamity we've ever seen. But now, with the start of a new decade, it's a production-oriented year. So we're focused on goals. We're focused on numbers. We're focused on achievement. We're focused on getting up in the morning and having an attitude. So when you come into that office, we have a positive mental attitude. Now, I've got little placards that I'm putting together at head office. I'd like to send one to your office. Tell me if you want this done, where it says, Exit owns the next decade. Do you want that in your office? Yeah. Okay. I'll send them down to Scotty. He can get them out to you. And put them up in your office. I'll send 2 per office so you can pin them in different places and whatnot, just so you've got that statement there. So just you're going to the restroom. You sit there and say, and you read it just before you go in there. Well, what were you thinking about anyway when you were going in there? Come on, plant those ideas constantly. So we all are following our own flag, and we're walking tall. Is it a challenge to own the next decade? It sure is. Sure is. We got to clean up, still got to clean up a lot of dead bodies and fix the mess and foreclosures and all this other stuff. Maybe we'll have a little humility after this. Maybe the lesson would have made us think some serious thoughts as to how we go about our lives. Maybe we should stop looking a gift horse in the mouth, for crying out loud, and take an unfair advantage of each other, systems, and everything that's going on. It's not about winning the lottery, people. It's not that somebody wouldn't win it every once in a while, but that's not normally the way it goes. Progressively building brick by brick in a crescendo right to the other end. That's what this company's all about. That's what you're all about. Now, I'm so incredibly pleased with how this has all gone for the last couple of days. Florida's just doing an absolutely magnificent job. And Russ and Carrie have put together some marvelous programs, had some marvelous guest speakers. And Scott and Colleen have their entrepreneurs and their heart, mind, and soul with regard to making Exit Realty Florida an absolute success. We're so proud of them. And what I ask is this. I'll tell you this right now. I want 2,000 people in Tennessee at our convention. And it's in October. If you've ever gone to our convention, you know one thing for sure. We promise you unequivocally that it's going to be better every year than it was the year before. Put up your hand if you attended last year. Okay. Was it better that year than it was the year before? Is it not better every year? Yes. Now, notice. About 15% of the people in this room put their hand up. I got to tell you something that's very, very true. Anything that you ever wanted in your life, anything you ever really wanted, you found the money for. Isn't that true? It's never a question of the lack of money. It's a question of whether or not you want to come. Because if you wanted it, you'd find the money to be there. You got to know and understand that you are totally different on Sunday morning when you wake up at our convention after going through an entire week of 18 world-class speakers and all the kind of stuff that we put on at that convention. If you've never been to that convention, you're missing out on probably $35,000 to $65,000 of earnings that you could be earning and bringing home and paying. Okay? Okay? We're looking for an open door, but it's got to be totally complementary to where the region's going. So we certainly ask permission because this is their region, okay? And we're to their service under these circumstances. So we'll provide the service. So if you want stuff like this, we'll put it out. This is available, all the rest of it. Then go to your broker and get your broker to nudge the region a little bit, and we'll be more than happy to come down and speak to you. Because this is a labor of love. I don't know how you see it, but for me it's a labor of love. This is not really work. I play at this. I have fun at this. I wouldn't do anything I didn't have fun at. I enjoy being here. I enjoy being up here. And participating with you and watching you grow and getting the most and best out of yourself and making this whole system work is just a dream come true for me. So I'm just extremely pleased. I'm just a happy person. I'm a D temperament, so I don't always show it with a smiling face on the outside, but I'm happy on the inside. So on behalf of Exit Realty Corp International, on behalf of Exit Realty Florida, I'll say this to you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Go forth and multiply. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.